All right, so yeah, let's go ahead and lie down to get started. Spend a few moments on your back. Maybe go ahead and take some measures to make yourself comfortable, like sliding a folded up pillow or a folded up towel underneath your head. I usually like to start with my knees bent, but if you want to straighten your legs, you can. Let's just spend a few moments in stillness, trying to allow the body to relax, trying to settle in. Breathing. Notice the breath in your belly. Maybe even place your hands there. Notice whatever parts of the breath are in the chest. Maybe even rest your hands on the heart and feel your chest expand. And then let's check in with the rest of the body. Let's start from the top and make our way down and just check in with ourselves bit by bit. Noticing the muscles in the face. Neck. Shoulders. Right arm. Left arm. Chest. Belly. Back. Hips, and then that right leg. Left leg. And spend a few moments observing your mind. Any thoughts or feelings or emotions that come up, just gently stick a little label on them. See what the subject matter is or the broad category. And then see if you can just let them float on and leave a little space for the next thought or emotion that comes up. Not clinging to any one subject too tightly. And then finally, let's set an intention for the evening. A simple, word or short phrase. Picking out something that you would like to see more of in your own life or outside in the world. Something positive like hope or healing or peace. Let it settle. And you can return to that thought almost like a mantra anytime else in the practice if your mind starts to wander. All right, so go ahead and roll over to one side. You prop yourself up a little bit. You're going to start with the side body stretch. So maybe a rolled up towel or blanket. If you have sort of a small size bolster, that works too. I'm going to admit I don't like this one very much, but sort of do it every once in a while like I'm getting my yoga vegetables in. I think it's good for stretching the side. It's just sort of uncomfortable to me, but that's okay. So coming to where you've got one hip that's a little bit away from the roll, maybe 4 or 6 inches. And lower ourselves down onto it. So you want to aim to get the roll on the ribs, sort of, so that when you lie down and sort of drape your body over it, create a little bit of curvature over here on this other side. Take this top arm, whichever one you ended up with on top for the first round, and reach it up and overhead. And you can do whatever you want with the legs to keep yourself from feeling like you're going to roll away. Not too terribly long here. Just relaxing, see if you can settle into it. Stretching over there in this top side. So let's go ahead and roll on over to the other side. Got 25 breaths over here. I think part of the reason I don't like this pose very much is that my neck is sort of uncomfortable. Let me try. I'm going to try a pillow and see if that helps. Reaching up and over with that top arm, stretching in the side. Yeah, that's much better for me. And release. So come onto hands and knees. You can leave your roll in the same place. We're going to position it so that it ends up sort of like a little belly massage for the digestive tract. So hands and knees on top of it, lower yourself down. If you really just don't like the way this feels, you can aim to have it underneath the hips instead. That works too. So just stack one hand on top of the other and allow your forehead to rest on top of the palm. And release. So slide your hands back underneath the shoulders, press on up. I'm going to use the same roll for a little bit of a chest opening. So we're going to move it down the back in 3 positions. So we'll start up really high and place it so that it ends up where it's kind of coming out close to underneath your armpits, and then we'll move it down to mid back and low back. So starting with it up near the top of the mat, you might have a folded up towel handy just in case once we get in your neck is a little bit too arched back and you need something to relieve that pressure on your head. But maybe hips are 6 or 8 inches away from the roll or so, knees bent. Lie on back. Oh, I really undershot it. I'm going to wiggle myself. Arms out to a T. I'm kind of brushing the roll. Mindful of your neck as you lay down and open the arms up. So 10 breaths here with the knees bent just to make sure everything's okay in the low back. And you don't have to have this support under the neck. You can remove it and see how that feels. Your choice. I guess it feels fine without it tonight. So 10 breaths here. So something to think about while you're here, a metaphor that kind of works for this pose. Think about water and how it has the power to shape and move things over time. And sometimes that's through force, the raging waterfall, all kinds of power. And other times, water has more of the quality of surrender, of non-resistance, just passing gently by the barriers that it comes up against. So just think about the times in your life when it serves you to be forceful and powerful, to move mountains, to shape rock. And then other times when non-resistance, surrender, going with the flow is what not only makes you happier in the short term, but ends up in better results in the long term too. So maybe go ahead and try to extend the legs and see how that feels. And enjoy the idea of that water metaphor, what it means in your life, and then also what it can mean in your body here as you relax Allow your water body to be like water running over the props, offering no resistance, surrendering to gravity. Let's go ahead and move our roll to the mid-back, and you can do this in a couple of different ways. You can move yourself in position or in relation to the roll. That's what I kind of tend to do. Bend the knees, feet on the mat, and just kind of wiggle myself until the roll ends up in the mid-back. You can also roll over to the side, come up off the props, press yourselves up to a seat, and then just reposition and come back down the same way we did. All of that works. So don't just jump right into this. Give yourself that same kind of adjustment period, the 10 breaths to see if you can get comfortable here. Allow the body to kind of untense. When we do some of these restorative poses where the body feels like it's in a weird position, its immediate first reaction is to tense up to protect you, and it takes time to convince the mind to stop doing that, or use the mind to convince the body to stop doing that and relax instead. 10 breaths here, just concentrating on being heavy in the torso, draping yourself over the props. And then if you want to, you can try to extend the legs. It may change the angle or the pressure on your low back. So if it does that in an unpleasant way, just keep the knees bent. Nothing wrong with that version. Last stop's coming up. So allow the roll to be repositioned somewhere near your low back. I want your bottom to still be able to touch the ground, so don't get it so low, the roll so low in the back that your hips are no longer on the mat. Otherwise, you know, a lot of rules. Find something that feels comfortable and spend 10 breaths there with your knees bent. Body is like water. Maybe extend the legs. Release, bend the knees, feet on the mat. Remove your props and come to a neutral spine and kind of press the hips up, remove the roll. And then either with knees bent or legs straight, just enjoy that flat back feeling for a few moments. When you're ready, coming up to a seat. Okay, so I'd like for us to extend the spine now. And we're going to do that in a sort of a restorative puppy type pose. So I'll need all the props you can get for this one. I would start by spreading something down on the middle of the mat for your knees, just so that they're nice and puffy. And then you're going to want something that will hold up your hips, and then also something to support the torso. So I've got some blocks that I'm going to use to support the torso with this sort of backwards ramp that I'm building. And then the shorter side, I'm going to place some pillows on that end so that that's nice and comfortable. And then we need something here to support the hip. So I've got a couple of big hefty books that I'm going to do that with. You can also do this with a bolster if you have a nice thick one turned on its end. Or if you have more blocks, that works too. Whatever you can find. And then so that this is comfortable on top of these books, I'm going to place a pillow. So coming up over this, I'm going to spread my knees and bring my big toes together. And I'm going to press everything down and come really far out because I really want my hips to end up on top of this and take all of the props to take all of the weight so that I don't have weight in my knees really. And then my torso is supported by this kind of backwards ramp that I've built. So finding a comfortable position and allowing yourself to drape over the props. Settle in. If you feel like you don't have enough props to pull this one off, a good alternative here is to do a supported child's pose, which basically hugging a pillow or a bolster against your torso. And that one, the weight will be in your knees. It's just a little, I find this puppy version a little bit nicer. You've been looking one way the whole time. Go ahead and look out over the other shoulder. Last few breaths here. And when you're ready, hands slide back so that they're underneath your shoulders. Press yourself up and back off of the props. We're gonna do one more back bend. This one will be a little bit bigger than the previous one. Working our way up to it. So if you've got two bolsters, like a little one and a big one, that's how this works best. I'm improvising with what I have here at home. So I'm gonna take a big blanket roll in the middle. I'm even probably gonna add this towel to it to make it extra thick. Yeah, that's perfect. Right here in the middle of the mat. And then I'm gonna put one of my big pillows on top of it. Turn around so that your bottom is done here at the base of kind of like this teeter-totter that you built for yourself. Knees bent, rest yourself up and onto it. Mindful of the neck, so you can kind of position yourself. You might hang onto your shirt so you don't choke yourself. And then the same idea here as we did before. Knees bent at first, just checking to make sure this is going to be okay on your low back. And then you can play around with whether you want to reach up and overhead if that feels good across your chest, or if it feels more natural to keep your arms down here near your hips, or up to a T, whatever works. So let's settle in here, 10 breaths, and then we'll see what other options there are. Breathing, body like water. If you've made it to these 10 breath point and you still feel okay, maybe try extending one leg. And then try extending the other leg. One at a time here at first. We'll try both here. Up 10 breaths here. And then maybe both legs at the same time. Stretching from top to bottom. Last couple of breaths here. Go ahead and see if you can gently replace your feet on the mat. And so I like to get out of this sort of the opposite of how we got into that. I kind of drag myself back toward the heels. If it feels safer to you, you can roll over to one side. Just whatever you do, and be mindful of your neck. Okay, so I'm going to scooch toward the end of the mat. And when I get close here to where my spine feels pretty neutral, that's when I'm going to roll over to one side. Use my hands to press myself the rest of the way up. And here we are. Time for legs up the wall. Get into the really good stuff of the evening. So we're going to start in legs up the wall with the option to take a little bit of pigeon at the wall, which of course you can skip if you want to. But to start with, got one hip really close to the wall, lean back, let the legs head up. So for that restorative pigeon, I'm going to start with both legs extended and cross right ankle over so that it's resting there on your left thigh. Flex that right foot and then allow the left heel to slide down the wall just a little bit so you feel stretch in the right hip. If you want to skip this, you can just be here with your legs on the wall, or you can take maybe a wide V. That's another fun stretch here with the aid of the wall. Wherever you land, find a comfortable position for your arms. That can be kind of close on your belly, out to a T, or I like to reach them up overhead. But you find the shape that works for you. Or if you're with me in that pigeon at the wall, let's go ahead and try the other leg. And release. If you're in that pigeon, and just simply rest the legs up against the wall. So some options here, if you have something heavy that you could put on your feet that feels nice, a sandbag or even just a big bag of rice that you have in the house. The other thing that can feel nice is if you put something underneath the hips. So I'm just grabbing whatever's handy, sliding it underneath my hips, and then replacing the legs on the wall. It's pretty normal here for your legs to get cold. So if so, you can sort of wrap them up like a burrito or place them on the wall. This is one of our longer holds of the evening. See if you can allow the mind to settle. Let's guide ourselves into it by thinking back to that intention that you set in the beginning. Call it back to mind. Just spend a few moments every time you breathe in. Imagine that word or phrase. And then every time you breathe out, maybe imagine its opposite. So if I were working on hope, I would breathe in hope. And I would breathe out doubt or fear, something like that. And just spend a few moments tying your intention to the breath. These are our last few moments here. You can start to move your legs against the wall, find some other positions or stretches that feel nice. And whenever you're ready, rolling over to one side and helping yourself the rest of the way up. So we've come to our last position of the evening, and I think I'm going to do just a classic Shavasana, but with extra yummy props. But if you want to set up for anything else, that would be perfectly fine. Maybe a side lying Shavasana or queen's pose, something else. So for my extra comfy Shavasana, I'm going to have something at the top of the mat to support my head. I'm going to have something toward the bottom of the mat to go behind my knees. And then I'm going to have a blanket handy. And I also have an eye pillow to kind of block out the light. Mine smells like lavender too, so that's an extra instead. Let's see. Get some other things out of the way. Okay. So just like we have with all the other poses that involve coming down to the mat, let's do it nice and safely. Knees bent. Lie back. Mindful of your neck. Have something supporting the head. So especially if you find that your nose and chin are really arched up toward the sky, have something back here to even that out a little bit. Get comfortable. We'll revisit our intention here in this final pose. Start by breathing it in and releasing out anything that's blocking you with each exhale. And then from there, let's try some positive visualization. Spend a luxurious amount of time imagining what it would be like if you were to enact your intention on the world, on yourself, on the people around you. Let your imagination linger and spread far and wide on the topic. What would it feel like in your body? What would it look like? What would some of the scenes be? Imagine it. Visualize it. If you're having trouble, maybe use the senses. Think about smells, sights, and sounds, feelings, and tastes. What would it feel like? What would your senses bring in if you were to succeed with your intention? And then lastly, see if you can pick one of those scenes and then shift it. You're still looking at it, you're still imagining it. But this time try to bring in the sense that it's already true. This idea that success is already yours. There's nothing standing in your way. In fact, it's already come to pass. Try knowing that, feeling it for certain. Gently start to breathe a little bit more deeply. Find small ways to move, shift position. And slowly, gently roll to one side. Press yourself up. Here we are at the end. One big inhale together, just a symbol, a little bit of gratitude for each other always. Better doing yoga with